Howdy, boys and girls, and welcome to week 12 of the college football season, week 12 of the Carla and Crappy Show, and lucky number show 13 of I'm not going to go back and explain how that worked. It just did, and this is where we are. Hi, guys.
I goofed. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Hi, Carla.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Hi, AJ.
Hi.
Our Pac-12 After Dark correspondent joining us for the second straight week. Beers. I do not actually have an East End glass, although I have an East End beer. Guys who listen to the audio, you cannot see the beer, but you can't see through this.
It looks like orange juice.
No, it looks like orange juice. My man is drinking on that, and it's not a screwdriver of any sort.
Oh, a delicious Pennsylvania handshake, still on tap at the brew pub and the tap room in the Strip, if you happen to be in Pittsburgh. We have perhaps not the most quality-filled week of college football that we've had this season, especially compared with the last 2 weeks. But we've figured out a way to make this interesting, and we'll get to that in a second. But literally, we're taping on Tuesday rather than Wednesday, so the newest rankings came out literally in the half hour before we started this.
Hot off the presses.
It's happening.
Hot off the presses. And rather than and this sort of dovetails with what we learned last weekend, but the results of last weekend are Bama's back at number 1, Clemson number 2, Miami after just crushing Notre Dame is at number 3, Oklahoma is at number 4. Next two out are Wisconsin at 5 and Auburn at 6. The games last weekend were so good, and so decisive in kind of getting us to this point. Guys, what do you think about the rankings? How did they appear the way you expected them, or are there surprises here? Carla, what do you think?
So, like you just said, these literally just came out, so I've had about 30 seconds to digest these. But
yes.
But looking at what I'm seeing here, the biggest surprise to me, I'm not surprised, obviously, Bama 1, Clemson 2. I expected the committee to do that. I'm slightly surprised that Georgia fell out of the top 4. I had this hunch that Georgia might have fallen to number 4 or maybe 5. I wasn't expecting them to fall all the way to 7 because they lost to a top 4 opponent, or a top 10 opponent. So that's slightly surprising. They're still within striking distance, obviously. But the same thing that I talked about the first time these rankings came out appears to be true again. When you look at these rankings, this is slightly hilarious because we're doing the transitive property of college football, right? Who beat whom? Because if you look at this, you have Auburn at number 6, Georgia at number 7, because that's the way that game just went. Right. And Notre Dame right behind them at number 8, because who is one of Notre Dame's losses to? Georgia, right? Ohio State is still sitting 1 above Penn State, and TCU is still sitting at number 12, 1 above Oklahoma State at 13. So again, the third week in a row that who has beat who, the actual head-to-head matchups matter with this committee more so than any other committee we've had with the college football playoff, which is not a great thing for Ohio State, other than the fact that they're going to have to beat Wisconsin in the Big Ten title game. That was going to be a necessity anyway. But I think with the way the committee is really valuing this head-to-head matchup, it's going to make some interesting shuffling. But I think the shuffling actually is a little bit tougher this year. But that's just an initial take. I don't have any quibbles really about the way that they ordered these teams.
Okay.
So I'm good with it for now, but we won't see much shift this week, I don't think, at all, because as we talked, this is baked goods week here on the lovely CNC show. So yeah, there's not going to be a lot of shifting here this week. We'll get there.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
AJ, what do you think about the rankings?
Is it wrong? I just don't think Clemson's a top 4 team. Maybe that's just me. I don't.
I'm and I'll throw my 2 cents in a second. I think Clemson is overranked at 2.
It's fine. Like I'd have them at like 5. I just don't think they're top. I don't think they're the number 2 team. I think they're getting some love based on last year, which doesn't translate to this year because you don't have Deshaun Watson. Thankfully, the 2-3 situation between Clemson and Miami will sort itself out in the ACC title game.
Right.
I would have liked to see Miami at 2, but hey, who's counting? But I think part of this is the fact that the College Football Playoff Committee has been on the internet before, and they know what happens when you don't rank people. Like, why is Auburn ranked behind Georgia? They just beat Georgia, and they don't want that at all. So they're just like, screw you, Georgia, you're 7, Auburn, you're 6, done. And like the internet,
it takes a lot of work out of the process. Yeah,
right. Well, listen, when you have the president of the greatest university in the history of all of education, the Robert Morris University, cheers, go Bobby Moe.
Go Bobby Moe.
He's going to simplify everything, and he's just going to say, hey, Auburn, you're 6, Georgia, you're 7. We don't need to make this any harder than it needs to be. Stanford, Condoleezza Rice was there. She went to Stanford. She was trying to make it all hard. No. Get Chris Howard in there. He'll simplify this way on down for everybody. Thank you, Chris Howard. We appreciate your work.
Thank you, President Howard.
Here's the problem. Because this week is baked goods week, but note, as the Pac-12 After Dark correspondent, I have to bring in here that it is also Pac-12 Rivalry Week Part 1.
Yes.
Pac-12, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know the rivalry week is next week. Go in with everybody else. Nobody's working. It's not like your games being on at 10:30 become a problem anymore. Just have your rivalry games at the right time. Just do this. Do this for everybody instead of saying, "Oh, we're going to put USC, UCLA." Like, I know why they do this, because they know that it's SEC SoCon week. So, like, Alabama's playing Mercer.
Yes.
I see you, Nick Saban. Listen, SoCon is getting paid this week, so I'm here for it. They're getting the AD, they're getting the athletic department funded for another 365 days at least off of this game. You're going to go into Bryant Denny, you're going to get whomped by 40, and then the women's basketball team gets to take buses to games. Congratulations, Mercer, you got paid. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't.
After watching and I got to stay up and watch night games last Saturday because I was at work, so I had Oklahoma on one TV and Miami on the other, just watching both of those beatings, and I thought briefly, particularly of Miami. It's like, well, how could you not? Could you rank them number 1? Could the Hurricanes be the top team in the this week's rankings? And I guess I eventually came back to earth a little bit, came back to the thing about Alabama should be number 1 until proven otherwise. Although I didn't really feel that Georgia was misplaced there, but I think I was struggling with that. I was struggling with Miami and Alabama and who should be in that top spot.
I feel something coming in my chest here, Crappy. I feel it in my chest here. The South's got to get out. Bama ain't played nobody. They just haven't. Who has Bama played?
Bama Mercer. Mercer. They have
played an absolutely trash Florida State team and knocked their quarterback out for the season, thus causing the trash. And the best win of their season might be Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They haven't played anybody. Miami has beaten both Notre Dame and Georgia.
Yes.
And Virginia Tech. A number of other teams that are Virginia Tech's not ranked. Dang. Yeah. Sorry. I was giving them way too much credit.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying. I could see Miami in that top spot. I could see the top 4 that I was thinking about on Saturday night would have been Miami, Alabama, Oklahoma, Clemson. And I still kind of think that would be the best reflection of where things stand now. But I mean, at this stage, I think the right 4 teams are in the top 4. My only quibble is the order.
If the playoffs happened right now, I'd be sad.
Well, yeah, but
because I don't want Oklahoma, Alabama, Clemson, Miami. I want Alabama, Clemson, Miami, Oklahoma. I want it that way entirely because I want. I would rather see like a Miami Clemson national title game or an Oklahoma Miami, basically anybody but Bama.
Okay.
And then I'm just, I don't know. Right now, I'm not pleased with this top four. I get why they're there. I'm just, it's fine.
If I'm a potential opponent, I know I'm a lot more worried about Miami than I am about Alabama.
Alabama's offense is nothing.
Yeah, Carla, could Miami be actually be the best team in the country at this point?
I think there's enough hesitation with Miami. What we talked about last week, right before this Notre Dame game, against Notre Dame was the first time that we were all really sold on the Miami offense, right? I mean, what did we say last week heading into that game? We wanted Miami to prove themselves that they could win a game not in the last 2 minutes, right? And so they did that against Notre Dame, which solved that. But there's still that question mark. And yes, I know Alabama hasn't played anybody. But if you look at the roster of who Miami has played, it's slightly better, but they also haven't won as convincingly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, they've had to eke past it. So at this point, I'd have them like 1A, 1B. I would probably be happier with Miami at number 2.
Okay.
But at this point, Alabama has done what it's supposed to do. Right. It's playing inferior opponents and it's winning games convincingly. Right. Last week against Oklahoma or against Mississippi State, that's a tough environment to play in. They did what they had to do. They won the game.
A lot of cowbell.
A lot of cowbell.
Way too
whole
much.
Lot of cowbell.
Clanging.
Way too much cowbell.
You had to watch that game on mute because it was intolerable even on television, right? So to me, Alabama is number 1 simply because they've done what they're supposed to do. They've won games by a substantial margin, games that they're supposed to win, and they went into a tough road environment and pulled a game out that they easily could have let slip away. Miami did what it was supposed to do this week, but there's still enough question marks on that offense as the season has rolled on. They have the opportunity to correct that. The opportunity is there. I think they're real close 1-2. That's me.
Okay. Before we get to the games, the feature games, I do want to let AJ. He mentioned USC, UCLA. It'll be after dark here. So, but he's got some. He has some Pac-12 thoughts. AJ,
it's rivalry week part 1. If I can get that out.
Rivalry.
I spell that with W's every single year.
Wibbly. It's wibbly wobbly week. Just know.
Boo.
Balakaboo. I have children. It's fine. There's a couple games this week that you should watch. None of them are in the proper After Dark slot, which makes me sad as a Pac-12 After Dark watcher. I'm going to throw out there UCLA and Oregon. Or not UCLA and Oregon. What's happening here? UCLA is directly above Oregon. Or Oregon's directly above UCLA on my schedule here. So UCLA at USC, Battle of Los Angeles. This game features a lot of talent, even if both teams aren't necessarily great all the time. USC is 9-2 this year. They did lose to Wazoo, and I will not let you forget that because that game was fun as heck to watch. UCLA has wildly underperformed, as is the case with all Jim Mora teams. So, yeah, I'm here for the slander. UCLA is not good. Josh Rosen is a good quarterback. Sam Darnold's a good quarterback.
Truth is a defense. The truth is an actual defense.
I mean, I'm sorry, UCLA. You got 5-star talent all over the field. You're still 5-5. The 5 does not mean the number of wins you get. The 5 is the number of stars of the players on the field. Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold are playing quarterback. Go watch that game because both of those dudes are going to be playing on Sunday soon. So I highly recommend watching you watch that game.
One of those poor guys is going to get drafted by the Cleveland Browns.
One of those guys is getting drafted by the Browns. One of them is getting drafted by the Jets. So if you want to watch these dudes before they have trash around them, go ahead and watch what they were supposed to be in this game. California is Cal's playing Stanford. This is the game. This is a very fun rivalry. If you haven't, I highly recommend going and looking up the various pranks that they have pulled on each other because this is truly what college football is supposed to be, pranks on opposite schools. Both of these schools are fairly good. I think Cal has had their moments this year, like when they beat Wazoo 37-3 for no reason in the middle of a 5-game losing streak. That happened. Like it wasn't even close. Like Wazoo looked like hot garbage on that field that night, and there's no reason why Cal should have won that game. It was like Cal said today, defense, and they had one that time. Every other game they have not. But Cal and Stanford are playing. They're playing at Stanford. This game should be fun. It is at 8 p.m. on Fox. The UCLA-USC game is your game of the week at 8 p.m. on ABC. Those are the two games you should watch. Scoreboard watch Utah-Washington. If it's still close after 2 quarters, then stay up. But other than that, go to bed.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, also, Arizona's playing Oregon, which means Khalil Tate's going for 400 yards because Oregon still doesn't have a defense.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
I will always just stand for the Arizona games just because you should be watching Khalil Tate. And if you're not watching Khalil Tate, I feel sorry for you. You're bad. You should feel bad. Well, Khalil Tate is incredible, and you should watch it. Plus, I think he's only a sophomore, which means we're going to get him again next year.
Oh, I got time. Maybe he'll transfer to school.
I'm sorry. He will crest 1,000 yards passing and 1,000 yards rushing this week.
Okay.
And by the way, he missed the first 4 games of the season. He's got 1,200 yards and did not play or only played slightly in the first 4 games of the season.
Outstanding.
He is on an absolute tear, and you should watch him. I need to do this because I saw this earlier today.
Yes.
I would like to read you the long rushes from Khalil Tate in his past 6 games. Are you ready?
Okay, go.
75, 71, 76, 82, 54, 71. At some point, Khalil Tate gets the corner and he's gone. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. I love watching Khalil Tate.
I'm going to have to stay up and watch one of these.
And he's 5-1 in those games.
Yeah.
So
that would also be helpful.
Watch those games.
Okay.
Let's continue.
Thank you, AJ. Before we get to our games, everybody raise your glass, please. Do this properly.
Glass raised.
We would I'd like to toast to Alabama and Clemson, who are playing the most embarrassing games of the weekend against Mercer and the Citadel. Embarrassing. It is absolutely true. AJ is correct. These teams, the little guys, do this to get paid. Bless the Southern Conference. D1 teams should not be playing D1 AA teams. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't happen. I don't care what the NCAA says about trying to tell us that 1AA teams are now Division I teams, but just with a different subdivision. It should not happen, and it especially should not happen in November. I'm sorry, Ohio State fan who gets to watch an Illinois game this weekend. Hey, I'm playing a team in my conference, and my school does not play 1AA schools. Ever. No, that was there were the previous head coach, because of his previous affiliation, set us up with 2 games against Youngstown State, and when those games were over, that was it. There's actually a stated policy at the Ohio State University. Not going to happen again.
Yeah, they had to stop that because they got Rutgers and Maryland every year now. It's fine.
Yeah.
Schools.
Well, yeah, the Vanderbilt in Tennessee, and
every single time somebody's like, "Oh, you guys get to play Rutgers every year," I'm like, "Haha, you have Kentucky and Bandies. Calm down, SEC."
Well, as I mentioned before, we don't have the same kind of quality that we've had for the last couple of weeks, so we're going to look at a few games that are not quite cupcake level, as the Mercer and Citadel games are going to be. But games that are apparent mismatches that could result in upsets. At least we're sort of hoping at this stage. Carla, you're going to start us off with a Navy at number 8, Notre Dame. Notre Dame is favored by 17.5 points. What do you think?
Yeah, and if you look at the predictor on ESPN, that Notre Dame has a 96% chance of winning this game. So why the heck did I? Yeah. I mean, so why the heck did I say scroll past this game today and go, interesting. So you have a Notre Dame team that's reeling, right? I mean, they had the playoffs sitting right in their hands. All they had to do was win. Same concept. All they had to do was win. They didn't. They got crushed by Miami. And so you have to wonder where the mentality of this team is right now, because they had a chance at the playoff. Now there's really no route for them. There's no opportunity for them to get back into the playoff at this point. So you have to kind of wonder where where their mentality is going against here we go with this Navy triple option, right?
Right.
And this is a Notre Dame defense that couldn't stop the Miami offense, which was an offense that we just talked about this. We had questions about it heading into the game against Notre Dame. You have to wonder with a week morally deflated after that loss, is Notre Dame going to be ready to face this triple option? Something they don't play Georgia Tech. This is their only chance at this style of play. And hey, Navy likes to play upset all the time. Like that's their role. They've done this for the last several years. They've got a good system there. They lost 3 in a row, but they snapped that last week with a win, a nice win over SMU. So do I think Navy is going to win this game? I don't put a lot of weight in it, but they're playing at home against this Notre Dame team. It could be a trap game for Notre Dame. It wouldn't stun me if this game was close early on. This is one that I would keep your eye on and keep an eye on that score to see how Notre Dame really responds in those first couple of quarters to see this potentially could be a shocking upset.
The triple option thing is something that you can't emphasize enough. I mean, I got to see Army in person this year, and that's not even the best of the Service Academy triple options that Navy right. has that. But it's just, you spend, especially like the first half, just kind of holding your breath as a fan. It's like, oh God, because you can't adequately prepare for it if you don't play it every single
right.
year.
Well, ask Virginia Tech. Yeah. Right, Virginia Tech this week. Everybody was on the Virginia Tech bandwagon, and then they lost at Georgia Tech. Same offense, triple option. You can't sleep on the triple option offense.
Okay, that's it is an interesting matchup. AJ has a nice matchup, one that I might not have paid attention to otherwise, which is why I'm intrigued with this. SMU at number 21 Memphis.
Yes.
Memphis is favored by 12.5. That's the tightest of the point spreads of the 3 games we're talking about. And you said the over-unders would be in the 70s, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm always here for pointsy football.
We've noticed.
Nobody's noticed this sort of thing. I'm usually here for pointsy football, and the main reason for that is because it's fun. But the other piece of this is that SMU is not a bad team. By the way, the official over/under that I'm reading is 75.5.
Okay, that's right.
So
that's a good
brisk. One. It's brisk. So. The current line is Memphis by 13.
Okay.
Here's why I chose this game. SMU is not a bad football team, not in the slightest, but they are still rebuilding. They're still trying to get back to where they were. They have 4 losses on the year this year. Let me read them to you. TCU, they lost by 20. Houston lost by, math is hard, 13.
Okay.
Their last 2 games, they lost by 3 to Navy and 7 to current number 18 UCF. They are not a bad football team. They're fully capable of keeping up with very, very good teams. Memphis is a very good team. This is a nooner, which means that weird things can happen in the AAC.
It's true.
And I could see this one being a lot closer. Then and potentially be an upset. And this would be a nice signature win for Chad Morris and SMU, who are trying to get this program back on track. They are going bowling this year for the first time in like 20 years, I think. So they're 6-4. They have a chance to go, if they win, they have a chance to go 8-4, which would be huge for a team that went like 2-10 not that long ago. So I would recommend watching this game, mostly because it's probably going to be pointsy. It's at noon, so you don't have to stay up late. See, I come back around and help you.
Score.
Don't sleep on the Stangs. They will jump up and get you. Plus, Memphis is a super fun team to watch. Also, in regards to the Navy game, Carla, I have a coworker who is a heavy Notre Dame fan, which is just hilarious. Hi, Bob, if you ever watch this. I think he went to the Notre Dame, or he was trying to go to the Notre Dame Georgia game this year. He didn't end up going. But anyways, I asked him, I was like, oh, hey, it's Navy week. And he went, oh, no. Oh, God, I don't want to play Navy. I don't ever want to play Navy. And they have to play this stupid team every year because it's like the 40s or something. And I'm like, da, 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 and I'm just playing him the Notre Dame theme song, just anything from Big Band era.
Right.
But you're welcome. They play Navy every year, and every year he just gets just tight about this game, regardless. And oh, by the way, Notre Dame fans, what comes after Navy? It's Bryce Love and Stanford. You get to chase Navy all over the field and then go across the country and chase Bryce Love.
Yep.
Good luck. We're all counting on you.
Here, can I turn the tables here and throw the fun fact that I found out about SMU and Memphis?
I've been waiting.
Yeah, she teased this fact before we got on the air.
I did tease the fact because I love nothing more than ridiculing Tennessee fans. And the starting quarterback at the University of Memphis is none other than Riley Ferguson, who transferred from the University of Tennessee back in 2014, who now has his Memphis Tigers at 8-1. And we know what Tennessee is this year. So
go Vols.
welcome back to the head coaching ranks, Coach Flintstone.
Hey, I'm sorry. Welcome back to the head coaching ranks. Oh, Coach Flintstone. Dang, I was gonna go with a Brady Hoke joke too. Oh, hey guys,
I have that ready.
Rocky Top now.
I have that. I have this ready. It's just a conditioning thing.
Is it just me, or I was gonna get screwed? I'm gonna do this. Is it just me, or is Brady Hoke just Chris Christie with a polo on? You've
never seen the two. Tough to argue.
Can't do it.
The game that I was looking at, and Carla, I could almost repeat verbatim what you said about Navy and Notre Dame, minus the triple option. Kentucky at Georgia. And I picked the game of the three that we're talking about, the one with the most ridiculous point spread, 21.5. And that's, yes, I get that. But this is not your father's Kentucky football team. They're 7-3 overall.
Ask Tennessee.
The folks, they've won a Tennessee state championship this year, beating both the Vols and Vandy, 4-3 in the conference. Again, it's respectable stuff. So the thing that's in play, there are two things in play here. Georgia could be of a similar mindset than Notre Dame because they were one of the other teams that got spanked sort of out of nowhere last week. In their case, by Auburn. I know it after listening to Ohio State's head coaches or assistant coaches after the loss to Iowa. The thing that they said is like, we have to be sure that Iowa doesn't beat us twice. Which was it's a possibility going in a game against a tough game against Michigan State. That's the kind of thing that can happen in these games. Does Auburn beat Georgia again this week? Even though it's not Auburn on the field, but the Kentucky team that may be better than you might expect. The other thing, this is interesting. You look at the game against Auburn last week, and Auburn really forced Georgia to try to come up with a more balanced offense than they would be comfortable with. Georgia wants to run the football. Auburn's rush defense, if we're talking about yards per game, Auburn's rush defense is 16th in the country. You know who has the 19th best rush defense in the country in the same measure? Kentucky. I think overall we're talking about different levels of competition. Certainly, I'd be willing to stipulate that, but that's a solid rush defense. And if Kentucky can score just a little bit and slow down Georgia and try to force them into situations like they had to deal with a week ago, and the Bulldogs like, oh man, here we go again. Then maybe this game comes a little bit closer than you might think.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I don't think Georgia loses this game.
Probably not.
I don't think it's close either. I think this is where Kentucky or Georgia goes, oh, Sony Michel, that guy, right? And then he runs for 200 yards. That's what this game feels like. This feels like we're gonna take on our anger on somebody, and it's a team we normally beat the crap out of. Now, does Kentucky have a better defense than they normally do? Sure, but I think this is the week. They are currently 76th in the S&P Plus. Their defense is currently overall. Where's their defensive stats? They're currently 129th in standard downs run rate. That's bad. I'm just saying I'm not the best at reading numbers, but 129th out of 130 something is not good. Maybe it's just me. So
hashtag math is hard.
Math is kind of hard sometimes. No, I really do think though that they have the possibility to potentially shut down Georgia like a little bit, but I still think Georgia goes nuts here.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, for me, it really depends on how Georgia responds. You know, I think they're fully capable of blowing out Kentucky in this game. But if Kentucky keeps it close in that first quarter, like you're saying, you know, is Auburn going to beat them twice? You know, I think that's a legitimate concern of the mindset. And this is the first time that Mark Richt is not Mark Richt. It's Kirby Smart.
Yes.
I'm still living in 2015 here. This is the first time that Kirby Smart has had a team in this situation, right? That bringing them in and after a loss like this and getting the mentality reset within his team to go in and beat a team that they should beat. Are they capable of doing that? Absolutely they are. But if Kentucky keeps it close, you know, in the first quarter, or it's close even heading into the half, you got to give one heck of a pep talk to make sure that the team closes it out. I think you're right. I think Georgia wins. But it wouldn't stun me if this got close and there was some nail biting happening in Athens.
Okay. We have one legit game to talk about rather than trying to figure out who might get upset and what games might be close. We can talk about number 24 Michigan at number 5 Wisconsin. This is Wisconsin is getting beat up a little bit for having a weak strength of schedule. Michigan is getting beat up a little bit because they're not as good as they appeared to be. But this is a game that both teams kind of need to win to head into the last part of the last weekend of the Big Ten season. Carla, what do you think about this one? Yeah,
this is what I a huge part of me really wants to pick Michigan to win this game. But then I went and looked at the stats, right? And we're still not totally sold on the Michigan offense. We talked about that after the Penn State game, that, you know, the Michigan offense was just totally shut down. Now, the last 3 weeks, they've put up an average of about 34 points per game against Rutgers, Minnesota, and Maryland, right? So it's, yes, they figured out the offense, but against inferior defenses, they're going up against the number one, statistically, total defense in the country in Wisconsin, and a team that has averaged 36 points per game. So just those two things say Wisconsin wins this game. Here's the hesitation on the Wisconsin side. It's the same thing that we talked about last week with Georgia and Auburn. We had this conversation about Georgia last week, that Georgia has not faced a defense like Auburn's, and we saw the difference that made in the game last week. The same exact thing can be said about Wisconsin. Wisconsin has not faced a defense like Michigan's this entire season. Michigan is ranked number 3 in total defense. Ask Georgia how well it goes against playing a defense that's tougher than anything you've faced all year, right? So there is some hesitation there, but the reason why I'm still going to go Wisconsin in this game is because I'm not sure that Michigan can score enough points on that defense to be able to win the game. That's my hesitation. Otherwise, you know, I would say, well, maybe Michigan can actually win this game. That, and it's being played at Camp Randall. I don't care what time of day it is. Camp Randall is a tough place to play football. So I think Wisconsin finds a way to win this game, but this is going to be an interesting battle between these two defenses to really see how it all kind of plays out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. AJ, what do you think about this one?
I think this is in Camp Randall, right?
Yes,
it is.
Yeah, this is going to be tough for them, for Michigan to actually do much of anything here. Michigan has not shown much of an offense. I mean, even though they have showed a little bit of an offense in the last few weeks because they've been playing not great competition. Wisconsin and Camp Randall is not the place you go to find that out after playing Rutgers. So
true.
Don't do that. So Yeah, I mean, this is probably the game of the week in terms of like ranked on ranked and brand on brand. I think that the playoff committee will give Wisconsin a little bit of a nudge for playing Michigan. But again, this is one of those draw games where it's like, oh, hey, you drew Wisconsin draws Michigan, and they don't really have a choice in the matter. It's not like they went out and scheduled Michigan.
Right.
Plus, the game is at noon on Fox. Like it's very much like the TV gods have very much scheduled a lot of these games to happen so that there's at least something on at noon and something on at 3:30. Although, what is on at 3:30? Oh, the window of opportunity is so big this weekend, you guys. It's so big. Do you want to paint your windows? 3:30. Do it.
I will be watching live football at 3:30 after a tailgate party of several hours.
Yeah, I mean, this game is a this game is probably the best one this week. I don't see Michigan really doing much here. I think Wisconsin pretty much goes out and lets Jonathan Taylor go nuts. And they just run all over Michigan.
Okay.
And Michigan is still kind of got like look ahead spot here where, hey, it's Ohio State week next week, so maybe we don't overlook Wisconsin, but they kind of are like still kind of looking forward to Ohio State week next week. So,
that could be something that would be a product of Harbaugh and his understanding of what next week games it means. But this is a really important game for Wisconsin. If Wisconsin has hopes of breaking into the top four, they have this game, which has turned out to be against a ranked opponent, and that's really, really helpful. Last week they had a win against a ranked opponent, also helpful. Minnesota, not going to be a ranked opponent, but they can still finish up strong and then get somebody. I'm hopeful it is my team in the Big Ten title game. It means more to Wisconsin. Michigan has gotten better, kind of in the same way that Ohio State got better against UNLV and Maryland and Rutgers. Michigan's done it with Rutgers and Minnesota and Maryland, kind of the same teams in a different order. But they still have the offense is better marginally. John O'Corn seems to be the guy, but I don't. It's just a question of scoring. Wisconsin's offense is. You don't have to score a lot against Michigan. I think the over/under on this is, I was just looking, it's 40 or 41 points. So you don't have to score a lot, and that's fine because
your window of opportunity is now 7 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Don't watch that game. The over/under is 40. Oh,
this is Big Ten football. This is the games that we love to watch. And it's but I see Wisconsin winning this one not pretty easily. It's going to be an ugly, slow, beat each other to death game, but the Badgers will win this, and Michigan will get set to host my team next week. Guys, I have one more question.
Okay.
I have one more question. Can my Columbus Crew, and what might be their last season in Columbus, can they beat Toronto in the first leg of the Eastern Conference semifinals on Tuesday, a game that I might go to? Carla, you can just say yes if you don't have any idea.
Toronto is a lovely city, but I happen to spend more time in Columbus, so yes, they win.
Okay, AJ?
Let me go look at the advanced statistics.
Don't even look at it. No,
then there is a.
Just say yes. Just say yes.
Wait, Columbus has Ola Kamara?
Yeah.
Yeah, Columbus by 5. I don't know.
No, but that would be awesome. That would be awesome because of the first leg, and if we're at 4 or 5 goals, the series is pretty much over before we even have to play a game at Toronto. Guys, thank you very much for joining us for this week's Carla and Crappy Show. AJ, thank you.
No problem.
Carla, great to talk to you as always down in Nashville.
Yep, thanks as always. Talk to you next week for Rivalry Week.
Rivalry Week.
Rivalry Week
is just a week away. We're
going to talk about all of the things.
Baba Wawas. In the meantime, do your best to enjoy this week's games, and we'll see you then. Thanks, guys.